Do you ever get tired of trying to figure out what to put in a lunch? Hi, welcome back to Ridgehaven Homestead, off-grid living, homemaking, and more. Do you ever get tired of trying to figure out what to put in a lunch? I have that a lot. I do get tired of that dilemma. We do a lot of sandwiches, and my husband likes the sandwiches, but sometimes, especially on these cold winter days, he would really appreciate having something home-cooked and warm. In this day of fast food, low nutrition, zipping here and zipping there, we appreciate having something slow cooked, a slow down meal where you can sit and enjoy it. So what to do? My husband works trees. He is outside in the winter all through the summer, but right now, since we're in the winter, this is what I'm focusing on. I like to give him something warm. I do make him a sandwich every day, try to give him a dessert or granola bar, but I always want to do something hot. He's not into drinking coffee, and hot tea is something for in the evenings, not while he's out working. Occasionally I have sent him tea on the coldest of days, and he appreciates that. But usually when he's out working, he works up a sweat and he wants cold water to quench his thirst. So for the lunch, the best thing that I have discovered, it's not like a new discovery. This is getting back to the basics, kind of a blast from the past, but the thermos. We use the Thermos King, and I think this is called the Thermos Stainless King, and it's 15 or 16 ounces. And we have discovered this is the best thing for putting something hot in his lunch. It can also be used in the summertime to put something cold. I have been known to put smoothies, which is a super refreshing thing on a hot day, and in the winter this is a wonderful thing. Now, we all know about the thermos. They've been around forever. I remember back in the 80s, early 80s, my mom packed me a metal lunchbox with a thermos inside that matched, and mine happened to be strawberry shortcake. I love that thing. I'm pretty sure one of my brothers had the Lone Ranger, and we were so proud of those metal lunch boxes that we could take. What I don't remember that much is really using the thermos. I think a few times my mom may have put some soup in, but for whatever reason, and probably just because I was a kid and kids can be brutal, maybe I was embarrassed to take the thermos, or maybe it was just too much trouble. I don't remember that much about using the thermos. I remember that I had one, and it was plastic and it had a red lid, and I don't remember much about using it. And so the thermoses have been around for a very long time, and they have been a part of hot lunches and hot drinks for a very long time. I would have to check on the history of it. I'm not sure how long they've been around, and at one point I did a blog article on thermoses, and you can check that on my Ridgehaven Homestead blog site, because I do have the origin of the thermos and the oldest thermos and whatnot. So back to today, we are using the Thermos King, and one of the best things, this one I just got, and you're like, well, how are you reviewing it if you just got it? Well, we have I think we have 4 of this particular size now. We have the green one, which I just got, happens to match my sweater. That wasn't planned. We have the red one, and this one is a rustic red, and you can tell it's a little bit scratched and beat up. It's served a good life. This thing gets thrown into my husband's lunchbox, which now has no lid. It gets put on the back of the truck sometimes. I'm sure it's bounced around on the road, but it is pretty indestructible. This thing is double layered, and it works really well. So we have the red one, we have a navy blue one, and we have the just plain stainless steel ones. And the reason I'm not showing you those is because they are currently in my husband's lunchbox for him and Andrew, because they have macaroni in them for today. We also have, I'll tell you about this one in a minute. This is a different one. It's also a thermos. This is, I believe I don't know if this one's 11 ounces or 15 ounces, but it's slightly smaller and it's made slightly differently. And we use this one as a backup. This one's not my favorite. I'll have the links in the description. You can pick these up at Walmart. I know I got this one at Walmart because it was available. And these other ones I order from Amazon. You can get them at any sporting goods store. And I think you can maybe even get these at Walmart, but I'm not 100% sure on that. This one is a good size. It's not that big. It's kind of stubby. And the mouth opening is pretty big. It has this thing that is, you can drink your soup if it's soupy, or your coffee or tea or water out of it. And so that's really handy. So they used to have the one with the handle on the side for the cup, but I think they probably figured that those handles break off pretty easily. So they just went to the standard straight cup. I think the best part of this particular thermos is this right here. Can you see that? It's not wanting to focus, but if it ever focuses, which it doesn't want to do, it wants to focus on my face. So if I had my face. Okay, the best part of this is the built-in spoon. It goes right into the lid. It snaps on, so you know if you have a spoon in your lunchbox because it's missing if it's not there. And this spoon folds out. Ta-da! A foldable spoon. It scrapes all the way to the bottom. I know that's a horrible sound, but it scrapes all the way to the bottom of the thermos, and it's just a really convenient size. I did notice on Amazon and on the Thermos website that you can also get a handy dandy foldable fork. We've never done that because everything that I send, I kind of figure if it's in the bottom of here, you're gonna scoop it out with a spoon when you get to the bottom, even if it's something that you could fork. And you can't put a spoon and a fork in here, so I opt for the spoon. Just keep it on the spoon. So what do you do with this? Obviously it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is it's handy because this keeps the food hot for like up to 9 hours, and I think it keeps it cold for even longer. I will send the lunch with my husband, and I usually make it at about 7 or 7:30 in the morning. And sometimes, just because of his job, he doesn't end up eating his lunch until 12 hours later. And I couldn't do that. I would be too grumpy, but somehow he focuses and he can do that. But when he opens up his soup, it is still hot. So yeah, that it keeps it piping hot all the day. And so that's why I like this. What do I put in here? The primary thing I like to put in is beans. My husband likes beans. He likes them soupy. And so pinto beans, black beans, bean soup, any kind of beans is what he likes the most. And also, like today I put in macaroni. It's kind of a goulash macaroni dish. I have put in scrambled tofu, and you can find that recipe either on my blog or on the YouTube channel. Pretty much anything that you can eat hot can go in here. Potato salad is not hot, but you can put it in there. I've done that. Cold things, hot things, just keep them separate. So anything hot. And what I wanted to show you is one trick that makes these thermoses work even better. It's not a hack, it's not a secret, because if you get the instructions from Thermos, it will tell you to do this, but not everybody knows this. I am a person who occasionally reads instruction manuals, and I don't always do it, but the last one that I got, which I believe was the red one, or maybe the blue one, I can't remember. I read the instructions, and then I just pulled them out from the green one that I got within the last couple days, and I noticed that they've changed them. Well, I'm going to tell you the instructions from the last one, because I have found that it's super helpful, and now I notice that they've taken it out of the instruction manual, which I think is kind of a shame. So this instruction manual, if you can read it, if you have a magnifying glass or something, it just tells you all the parts, what to do, how to assemble it, kind of some warnings. In other words, don't overfill it, don't use tools to open it, not recommended for children. If you have contents in it over 24 hours, you shouldn't use it. And this is so hard to read, and I'm getting up I guess I'm getting up there in years, believe it or not. So this would take a big magnifying glass or take a picture and enlarge it, but they don't have the instructions that I think are the most important. And that is, when you want to use this, you want to warm it up first, because that helps to keep it warm for even longer. And so what you want to do is you want to take your pan and fill it up with water. And it doesn't have to be hot water, just fill it up with water, and you're gonna heat that on the stove. And then when it gets boiling to boiling temperature, you're gonna pour that water into this. You're gonna put the lid on, screw it up tight, and leave it for 10 or 15 minutes. And what that does is that heats up the whole metal of this. And so then when you're putting your hot ingredients in, the metal is already hot. And so it doesn't have to heat up the metal, or in other words, the cold metal will cool down the food just slightly. So I've been doing that, and it's been helping to keep the food just better. Occasionally, if the food is left too long in here, like especially if they're beans, they have spoiled, but that's if they've been left a very long time. And the only other tips that I would recommend is make sure your food is at boiling temperature before you put it in the cooler. And I know that's kind of a safety risk, and that's why they say don't let children use these, but you don't want to be storing this for 9 hours if the food is not super hot when you put it in. And so this keeps it really hot. I don't know, I think that the way that these are being made now is double wall stainless steel. I don't think that they are glass lined like they used to be way back when they first invented them. Anyway, this is a great way to serve yourself or your husband or your sons or whoever you're sending a lunch to, daughters. It's a great way to ensure that they get a hot meal without having to go to the fast food store, without having to stop what they're doing to go find somewhere to eat or be on the mercy of somebody else. I did tell you that I wanted to mention this one. This one is made differently. It does not seem as thick. The walls are not as thick. And I don't know, it's just made differently. I can't explain it. The lid is a 1-piece instead of a 2-piece. The lid still goes down into the bottle, and it has a gasket on it that seals it, but for whatever reason, it could be that my gasket needs to be replaced, I don't know. But this jar, we find the food will be spoiled more often, and it doesn't keep it as hot. It seems to lose more heat than the other one does, and so we just basically use this one. This one actually works really well if you have a smoothie, you put it in frozen, and then you get it to your lunchtime, and it's just kind of semi-frozen, but it's not like solid. That works pretty well, but I don't trust this one as much as I used to, and I don't know what that is. Another handy thing to have with these thermoses is just a funnel. I use a canning funnel, or, you know, various size funnels. I don't know if I showed that to you, if I did it off camera. This one's a good, nice, deep one so that it's easy to fill it up. And you can get replacement gaskets for this if you know the model number. And so I have gotten replacement gaskets for both of my thermos bottles. This size actually goes on one of those tall thermoses that I sometimes send drinks in with my husband, and this one goes on this type of lid. It just goes here, and I just got this one within the last 2 days, and I have noticed that they've changed the lid design slightly. They now have this rubber piece in here with these 2 vents, and I'm not sure what the rationale is for that, but the other one was a solid plastic with a gasket around it, so I don't know if this just vents the air or it makes a better seal. I really don't know. If you know the answer, you can tell me what this little thing is for in the middle now that they've added. It might be for burping it. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate. That would just be guessing. I hope that gives you a few ideas of what you can do to extend the options for your lunches. it's nice to not have the same thing every single day, at least for me. Honestly, my husband, he will practically eat the same thing every day and he never complains. And it doesn't seem to matter that much to him, but for me, I like to add a little bit of variety in the mix. So anyway, check it out. Check out the thermos. Let me know if you have a different size that you prefer. This just happens to be the size that we use. There's actually one that's slightly taller that's somewhere like 18 ounces. My husband said that's just way too many beans. This is almost holds a whole can of beans. And so that's a lot to add to a lunch. And I will say that for these thermoses, I find that the more liquidy the food is, the better it holds its heat. And also if you have loose things, I'm looking at our cabbage here. If you had loosely chopped vegetables or potatoes or something like that, that were fried potatoes or something, they would probably stay hot, but not as long. If you submerge your items in liquid and the liquid is at the boiling point, it's going to stay hot longer than if you have the air to keep warm. So we're just talking basic science here. That's pretty obvious. I hope this will give you a few ideas. It's nothing out of the ordinary. We're just going old school, back to the thermos and back to basic things that people did long ago to keep their husbands eating well, eating warm, and staying frost free. Go ahead and like our channel and subscribe to it if you'd like to, and thanks for coming. Have a great day.